What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year. Today is January 4th, and I'm back out on the road. I got to spend a little bit of time at home for the holidays, and here we are. Welcome to my vlog. This is my trucking vlog. My name's Travis, and let's talk a little bit about what we're doing this week. So if you saw my last video, I delivered that load down in Galveston, Texas, at the port of Galveston, and I delivered that on a Saturday, and then I reloaded with the load I have now on Monday in Houston. So anyhow, I got loaded up on that Monday, and took a little longer than it should have, than expected, and actually didn't make it very far out of town that day. Got up to, I believe it was Huntsville area. I had a pretty good route coming out of Texas. The load, when I was originally dispatched, was going to Beaverton, Oregon, which is right outside Portland, and that would get me by my home for the holidays. So the original plan was for me to be home on December 23rd and then come back out from my home time on January 4th. So the way this load worked out, it had the time so that I could actually go home and spend that week at home and then still make delivery up in the Northwest on time. So anyhow, because of the loading and taking a little longer than anticipated, permits and stuff that goes along with heavy haul, I actually didn't make it home until Christmas Eve, but early in the afternoon, so not horrible. The load changed destinations while I was en route. I got up into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Actually, I was just north of there on 287 going towards New Mexico, which would be the route for how I was going to get to Beaverton to get home. So we were going to go up that way, get on 25, come up. I live in Colorado, so come up through Colorado, get up into Wyoming, 80, over into Utah, then 84, and on into Portland. So anyhow, get up to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, like I said, and then they said no, they needed the load actually to be delivered in LA, the greater LA area. So that obviously totally changed the routing. One of those things where if we'd known that ahead of time, I would have just went straight out I-10. It wouldn't have helped me from getting home for the holidays. But anyhow, so my boss was scrambling, trying to figure out, so since I was already that far north, the plan was to go to Albuquerque and leave the trailer somewhere, the load, find a secure location to leave that, and then just bobtail home. So the process of ordering permits and pilot cars and all that kind of stopped because we weren't sure exactly which way I'd be going. So it's not the LA area, it was San Leandro, which is up by the bay. So that's good news for us in the routing, because then I could still continue the way I was going and then just stay on 80 instead of getting on 84. So problem with that was then the permits and pilot cars hadn't been ordered for the rest of my trip from basically the New Mexico line, because we weren't sure which way I was going. So the next day I ended up getting to the border. I had my permit, but I didn't have the pilot cars to get across New Mexico. And so I had to shut down early, spend the night. Long story short, we got the pilot car by first thing in the morning and made it home, like I said, on the 24th. I had a really good time at home. Spent my, actually, I guess it was 7 or 8 days at the house. And then because the load does have to deliver, instead of coming out on a Monday on January 4th, I came out Saturday. So I'm currently in Fernley, Nevada. I made it across Wyoming yesterday. I got over to like Little America, and then, or I take that back, on Saturday. And then yesterday, I just went to Wendover, Nevada, which is the Utah-Nevada line, and that's because Nevada won't allow me to run on the weekend for my dimensions. So I just had to lay up there, got in there kind of early actually, and then started first thing this morning. So now I'm down in Fernley. The load will deliver, it has to deliver by Wednesday, and now it's changed again. It's changed a couple times, and I'm not sure what's going on with that, if it has to do with the project that the piece is for, is maybe having changes. so they're finding like these drop yard locations to leave it. The destination went from Beaverton, Oregon to the LA area. We didn't have a specific address when they told us that, but it was just the LA area. Then it went to San Leandro, then Martinez, and now it's going to Pleasanton. If all goes well, I could possibly be there tomorrow, and which is Tuesday, which would be good. I can get it empty early, assuming that they can take me in there, which they should at a yard. It shouldn't be a problem. But if not, then I'll be there first thing Wednesday. So anyhow, I took a little video of the piece and just kind of talked about how I tied it down and stuff. So that's what I'm going to show next. And then if you guys have any questions about any of that kind of stuff you see, feel free to ask me about it, and I'll try and answer everything I can. Just go from there. Anyhow, here's that little video clip I took. All right, everybody. Let's take a look at this load here for this week. This is what they call a 6-line Goldhofer with power pack. It's basically a platform with a bunch of self-propelled axles for moving really heavy weight. 6 axles. Each axle's got 8 tires. So let me get up here and show you. And then 4 tires for one trunnion. It's the frame of the unit, and then there's the same thing on the other side. Each row is good for 35 tons. And then this back here is what they call the power pack. It runs all the hydraulics that in turn run each one of those independently. So the steering on this is those front 3 axles steer together and the back 3 steer together. You turn those right, these turn left. It'll pivot, it'll spin around in a circle pretty good. And then back here is where an operator can ride and run it. And then there's also a remote. It's not wireless, it's got a cord on it, but somebody can walk alongside it with the remote. So anyhow, it's not a real big load. Weighs roughly 70 grand. So I'm just going to show you how I tied it down. Now obviously there's all these hook points all the way down this platform. I could have put shackles in right there and then chained it down to my deck. But since I have these big foundry hooks, they work out pretty good. They hook right into here, and they're not touching the back wall, so that means all the load's in the center of the hook, which is how you want it. And then I can just run those straight down to my D-rings. All my gear is grade 100. These are 1/2-inch chains, so they're good for 15,000 pounds of securement. So I've got 6 total chains, 3 down each side, which gives me 90,000 pounds of securement. Aggregate securement, if you want to call it that. So since the piece weighs roughly 70, we're over that. I believe the piece is actually lighter than that. When I scaled it out, my gross weight's only about 156. So that means this piece is closer to probably 60, I'm going to say like 67,000, 68,000. Anyhow, I'm here in Colorado, Fort Collins. Just wanted to show you the load. It's tied down the same way on the other side. There's one strap, it's a 4-inch ratchet strap that I ran across the power pack, and that was requested by the shipper because it's got these 2 hydraulic rams. There's one here and one on the other side, and that will raise and lower this power pack because it doesn't actually have, as you can see, any wheels underneath it. It just free floats back here. So once they loaded it, we rested it down on some of my dunnage and then chained it so that it can't bounce and hurt the hydraulics in transit. Other than that, real simple load. It's 10 wide. My trailer's 10 wide, so it fits perfectly on the trailer. And like I said, it's pretty light. It's we got way too much trailer, truck and trailer for this load. But I loaded in Houston, and it's a load to get me back up into the Pacific Northwest. Originally this load was going to Portland, now it's going right outside the Bay Area in California. Anyhow, that'll get me close to home for my next load, which loads up there in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle area. That's it for the load. All right, so that's the load. Like I probably said in the clip, it's definitely, we have way too much truck and trailer for that piece, but sometimes that's how freight works. You know, it pays the bills, as they say. It got me, we're trying to get back to two things. Trying to get back to the Northwest, which is where my company's based out of, and there was, I don't know if there still is, but there was a load up there, that local move that I needed to be back for, and it got me by the house with the time to go home and do all that kind of stuff. So everything works out great on this, and you know, it's not the first time that I've hauled something that doesn't quite max out the truck and trailer. So this one, you know, it works out. It's a direct customer for us, so you know, everything worked out for everybody. Everybody's happy, and that's that. Hopefully I'll have something cool and exciting next week to shoot a video on. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing once I get into with this one, other than I do believe I am going back up to our yard, which is up in the Seattle area, and I might have a small local move. It might not. Those kind of come and go, so I may or may not have that still when I get up there. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and hope you enjoy what you're watching here and stick around for more content in the future. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Bye now.